I'll never forget the sound of my daughter crying in the kitchen that day. It wasn't the soft whimper of a kid who dropped a toy or stubbed a toe. No, it was sharp, humiliating. The kind of crying that punches a father in the chest. I had just pulled into the driveway of the house I paid for. Not helped with paid. Every goddamn cent of it. The sun was going down, casting a long, sad shadow over the white-painted porch I used to think of as family. I had come unannounced. Something told me to. A gut instinct. And thank God I did. As I stepped inside, I heard shouting. My wife's mother, Bonnie, a woman with the personality of sandpaper, and her father, Harold, who thinks belittling kids is the same as old-school parenting, were both standing over my daughter, Emma, screaming at her to wash the dishes well. You useless girl. While my wife's sister's two spoiled little demons sat on the couch laughing like it was some kind of circus act. Emma was standing on a stool, her tiny hands scrubbing a greasy pan with tears dripping onto the counter. The rage that boiled in me, I hadn't felt anything like that since high school fights. I stormed in like a man possessed. Hey, I barked, my voice echoing off the walls like a warning siren. The room fell silent. Bonnie's voice caught in her throat. Harold went pale. Even the hyena nieces shut up. I walked straight past them, picked up my daughter in one arm, and told her, quietly, go to the car, sweetie. I'll be right there. She looked at me like I was Superman. And in that moment, I damn well was. Then I turned back to the room of traitors. You two think you can talk to my kid like that? In the house I paid for? My voice trembled with fury. Bonnie opened her mouth, probably to say something nasty, but I cut her off. Save it. You know what? This house? The one you're standing in, acting like you own it. I pulled out my phone, opened the banking app, scrolled to the mortgage account, and canceled the automatic payments. Right there. In front of them. Let's see how long your false royalty lasts when the bank comes knocking. Bonnie gasped like I'd slapped her. Harold finally found his voice, barking something about ungratefulness and family betrayal. I didn't care. That house? It meant nothing to me now. Not after what I was about to find out. What they didn't know was that I had started to connect dots days ago. Tiny ones, scattered like breadcrumbs through the mess of my crumbling marriage. But that day, watching my own child be treated like dirt by people I housed, fed, supported, was the final straw. And it got worse. Oh, much worse. I took Emma home. She fell asleep in the car, clutching a half-eaten cookie I had grabbed for her. I tucked her into bed, kissed her forehead, and then sat down in the dark living room, the kind of silence that weighs on your chest filling the space. That's when I noticed something. Her iPad, left on the table, still open. A message thread was on the screen. Not hers. My wife's. Amanda. And that was the moment the real story began. There it was. A text bubble. He's gone for the weekend. Come over tonight, face-blowing kiss. From Amanda to a contact named Fitness Coach Jim. Except I knew the guy. Jim wasn't her trainer. Jim was her coworker. The one with the perfect white teeth and that oily charm I never trusted. I'd met him twice. Once at her office party, and once when I saw him drop her off after work drinks. I had offered him a beer that day. He smiled and said, "Nah, don't want to step on any toes." Turns out he already had. My hands were shaking. I picked up the iPad, opened the full thread, and scrolled. And scrolled. Photos. Messages. Voice notes. Dates. That bastard had been coming to my house, our house, when I was out on business trips. Sleeping in my bed. Eating food I paid for. Telling my wife she deserved a real man. I wanted to throw the damn thing across the room. I wanted to break something. Hell, I wanted to break him. But I didn't. Not yet. No, I was going to play this smart. Because she wasn't going to just lie to me. She was going to lie to my face, and I'd be ready. I looked at the last message she sent him. Can't wait to see you again tonight. He suspects nothing. Oh, honey, you have no idea. I didn't sleep that night. I sat there, on the couch, in the dark, while the digital trail of betrayal burned holes in my brain. Every message, every winking emoji, every "I miss you already" felt like a slap from someone I had once sworn my life to. I watched the clock tick past 1 a.m., then 2 o'clock. Still no Amanda. She had told me earlier in the day she was going to her sister Kayla's house for a girls' night. I almost laughed out loud at the thought now. At 2:47 a.m., the front door creaked open. I didn't move. I wanted to hear her. Hear how easily she could lie. How well she could walk into our home, past our daughter's room, and act like nothing had happened. She tiptoed in, probably thinking I was asleep. I heard her heels click softly against the hardwood, then stop. She spotted me in the dark. "Oh, you're still up," she said, casual. Not even startled. She tossed her keys on the counter. "Yeah," I replied flatly, keeping my voice even. Couldn't sleep. Lot on my mind. She walked over, flicked on the kitchen light. Her makeup was smudged. Hair messy. I noticed her necklace was backwards, clasp in the front. She wore that when she wanted to feel sexy, as she used to say. Not for me, though. Not anymore. Amanda opened the fridge, grabbed a bottle of water, took a long sip like she was cooling off. "How was Kayla's?" I asked. She shrugged. "Same old. Chick flicks, wine, gossip. You know." "Oh yeah? Sounds fun. Anyone else show up?" "No, just us girls," she said, lying so easily I almost admired it. Silence settled between us like fog. "Your mom and dad are real gems," I added, after a moment. "I stopped by the house today." Her body stiffened, ever so slightly. "What?" she asked, turning to face me. I stopped by. Emma was there. They were yelling at her, calling her names, while your nieces laughed. Real classy scene. Her eyes blinked rapidly, and she stammered. I didn't know. I canceled their house payments." Amanda's jaw dropped. "You what?" "I canceled them. The house is under my name. So, I called the bank. It's going to auction. You can't just." "I can." And I did. "Jesus, you're overreacting." They were screaming at our daughter. "And you're worried about your parents' mortgage." I stood now, voice rising. "Where were you tonight, Amanda?" "I told you." "No. Try again." She paused, then said, slower, "At Kayla's." I reached behind me, picked up the iPad, and tossed it gently onto the couch. Her face turned white. She didn't even pick it up, just stared at it like it was a loaded gun. "You should be careful with what you leave unlocked," I said, calm but sharp. "You should also stop saving photos in shared albums. Or are the ones with Jim just part of your fitness program?" Amanda stood frozen. Her eyes darted back and forth, looking for some escape route, some angle. But she was out of them. "You went through my messages?" she asked, trying to flip it. "I did," I said. "After I saw our kid being emotionally torched in your family's home, I decided I deserved the truth somewhere." Then she said it. The line I'll never forget. "Don't act like you're some saint. You're boring. You're safe. I needed more than being your housewife." I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was so unoriginal. "That's what this is about? You needed more." I stepped toward her, my voice dropping to a cold whisper. "You had more. A daughter. A family. A roof. Loyalty. But that wasn't enough." She rolled her eyes, like I was the unreasonable one. "Oh, come off it, Nick. You're acting like I killed someone. It's not like I don't love you. I just wanted something different." "You wanted him." "Yeah," she said flatly. "I did. And you know what? He actually listens to me. Doesn't just come home and complain about clients or get tired after 5 minutes in bed." My stomach turned, but I didn't let it show. She smirked then, like she'd won something. Like saying that would destroy me. "Good," I said, nodding slowly. "Then go to him." She looked confused. "What?" "Pack your **** and go. Right now. And don't wake Emma." Amanda crossed her arms. "You think you can just kick me out?" I pulled a manila envelope from the drawer. The one labeled, just in case. Inside? All the papers. Every chat screenshot. Her text log with Jim. Audio files. Photos. And a printed copy of the emergency custody motion I'd already started filling out 2 days ago when I first felt something was off. I held the envelope out. "You can walk out now, or we do this in court." Amanda didn't speak. For the first time, she looked cornered. "I'm not playing your game anymore," I said. "This, whatever it was, is over." She stared at the envelope, eyes flickering. "I'll get my stuff," she said, almost whispering. I didn't respond. I just sat back down. Let her walk. Let her pack. Because the truth? That night, a part of me died. But something else woke up. And it wasn't forgiveness. The suitcase wheels scraped softly against the floor as she dragged it down the hall. Emma was still asleep, curled up in her dinosaur blanket, oblivious to the fact that her world had just split in two. I watched Amanda walk out the door, not a single look back, not one apology. Just silence, like I was an inconvenience she was finally free of. The door clicked shut behind her. I stood there for a moment, breathing, in and out, like I was learning how all over again. The silence in the house now felt different, not like peace, but like the aftermath of a hurricane. Everything looked the same, but nothing was. The next morning, I got up early. Made pancakes. Emma came into the kitchen rubbing her eyes, mumbling something about a dream she couldn't remember. She didn't ask where Amanda was. Not at first. Just sat down, chewed slowly, and watched me like she was trying to figure out if something had changed. She had to leave for a while, I said softly. Emma nodded, then looked down at her plate. That was it. No tantrum. No tears. Just quiet. And somehow, that hurt more. Like even my kid had already learned not to expect anything steady from her. Later that day, I drove to the gym where Jim worked. Not to fight. Not yet. But I needed to see him. I had to put a face to the enemy while my blood was still warm enough to keep me calm. He was there, laughing with some client, spotting her as she lifted weights like he wasn't a homewrecker. I stood in the corner, arms folded. He noticed me, raised an eyebrow, and then his smile dropped. He knew. I didn't say anything. Just stared at him for a full minute. Let the tension wrap around his throat like a rope. Then I turned and walked out. Let him sweat. Let him imagine what was coming. Because I wasn't going to throw fists. I was going to take everything Amanda cared about and leave her exactly where she left me, alone and broken. The next few days were a blur of legal meetings and paperwork. I found a lawyer, Miss Carter, who had the cold precision of a sniper and the patience of a saint. She took one look at the evidence I had, raised an eyebrow, and said, "We'll win." It wasn't about revenge. Not really. It was about justice. About taking back control of a life that had been quietly hijacked by lies. Meanwhile, Amanda texted. She called. Her messages changed tone every few hours. First it was cold. "You're overreacting. We can work this out." Then panicked. "What are you telling Emma? Are you poisoning her against me?" Then finally desperate, "Please. Just talk to me." I ignored her. She came to the house once, unannounced. Banged on the door until Emma peeked through the window. "I want to see my daughter," Amanda shouted. I opened the door and stepped out, shutting it behind me. "She's not a trophy," I said. "She's not your cover story. You want to see her? We go through court. You're not using her as your escape hatch." Amanda's expression twisted. She tried to slap on that fake charm, the kind she used on waiters and neighbors. "Nick, you're being ridiculous. I made a mistake, okay? But you're not perfect either. You." "No," I cut her off. "Don't start that. Don't twist this like it's shared blame. You invited another man into our bed. You lied. You humiliated me. You didn't trip and fall into it. You chose it. Repeatedly." She scoffed. "So you're gonna play victim now?" I laughed bitterly. "No, Amanda. I'm not playing anything. I'm done with games." She walked away with a dramatic sigh, like I was the problem. Like I'd ruined her story. I stood there for a long time after she left. Not angry. Not even hurt anymore. Just done. That night, Emma crawled into my bed and said, "I like it better when it's just us. You're nicer." I blinked hard to stop the tears. Kissed her forehead. And I realized something. Maybe I had lost a marriage. But I still had her. I still had something worth fighting for. Amanda? She lost the only people who truly cared. And she didn't even notice until the door was already locked behind her. The court date was coming. And I wasn't scared. Let her bring her stories. Let her bring her gym rat Romeo. Let her try to paint herself as the misunderstood woman in a boring marriage. I had the truth. And I had the strength she thought I'd never find. This wasn't heartbreak anymore. This was war. The day of the custody hearing was cold, gray skies, sharp wind, like the universe was giving the whole situation the weather it deserved. I wore a navy suit. Emma had drawn me a tiny red heart on a post-it note and told me to keep it in my pocket for power. I kept touching it every few minutes like it was a shield. Amanda walked into the courthouse with her lawyer and Jim. Yes, Jim. The audacity of that move almost made me laugh. He was in a dress shirt and tried to look respectable, like people would forget what he was. Amanda wore a tight dress like she was going to brunch, not a custody battle. She wouldn't even look at me until we were called in. The judge was a sharp-eyed woman in her 50s. Miss Carter gave her everything, every screenshot, every voicemail, every detail about Emma's schooling, routines, doctor visits. I came across calm, focused, with everything documented down to the minute. Amanda? She tried to cry. Tried to spin some tragic tale about emotional distance, feeling unwanted, and how she just wanted to feel loved again. Jim sat there with his legs crossed, hands folded, eyes darting between everyone like he was waiting for a trap to spring. Then the judge asked Amanda why she didn't report any of this emotional distance before stepping out of the marriage. Amanda fumbled, said she didn't want to make things worse. And you thought introducing your daughter to a man you were having an affair with, while still married, wouldn't make things worse? The judge asked. Silence. Amanda didn't win that day. The judge gave me primary custody, with visitation for Amanda pending a court-monitored adjustment period. It wasn't total victory, but it was enough to finally breathe. That night, Emma and I picked up burgers, watched cartoons in pajamas, and I didn't think about Amanda once. For the first time in months, I felt calm. No adrenaline. No confusion. Just quiet. But Amanda wasn't done. The following weekend, I found her parked outside my house at 11 p.m., drunk. She started honking until I came outside. "What are you doing?" I asked, trying to keep my voice low so Emma wouldn't wake up. "You think you're better than me now," she slurred. "She's my daughter, too. You can see her when you're sober and acting like a mother," I snapped. "Not like this. You think I'm the villain? You never saw me. You never really looked at me," she yelled, mascara smudged, hair wild, bottle in the cup holder. "I did see you," I said. "I just didn't realize how fake the reflection was." She threw something, her phone, maybe, and peeled out of the driveway. I called my lawyer the next morning and told her everything. That incident sealed the visitation agreement. The judge restricted Amanda to supervised visits at a facility for 6 months. Jim? He disappeared. Whatever fantasy he sold her on, it evaporated the moment the court got involved. Last I heard, he quit the gym, moved to another city. No goodbye. No ring. Just vanished. Amanda tried to reach out again after a few weeks. Emails this time. Long ones. Talking about how she was in therapy. How she finally understood her patterns. How she missed Emma. How she missed me. I didn't respond. What was there to say? That I forgave her? I didn't. Not because I was angry. That had faded. But because forgiveness is for the people who are truly sorry, and Amanda wasn't sorry for what she did. She was sorry it didn't end how she pictured. Sorry she lost control of the narrative. She missed comfort, not love. Months passed. Emma started laughing more. She stopped asking about her mom. Sometimes I caught her staring at the front door, like part of her still hoped Amanda would walk in, apologize, fix it all. But she never did. That's when it really hit me. Some people aren't broken. They're just selfish. And you can't fix selfish. One night, as I tucked Emma into bed, she asked, "Are we going to be okay forever now?" I looked at her. My little girl. Stronger than she should have had to be. "Yeah," I said. "We're going to be just fine." And for the first time since the whole nightmare started, I believed it. 3 months after the court ruling, life had found its new rhythm. It wasn't perfect, but it was solid. I'd wake up, pack Emma's lunch, walk her to school, work during the day, then spend the evenings helping her with homework or watching dumb cartoons she pretended not to like. We had inside jokes, routines, and this quiet bond that had deepened in the wake of Amanda's mess. Amanda still had supervised visits. Twice a week, 1 hour at a facility downtown. I brought Emma, waited outside, and picked her up after. Emma never seemed excited. Never upset either. Just indifferent. Like Amanda was a character in a show she used to like but had outgrown. One day, Emma came out of the visitation room holding a drawing. It was of our house, her, and me holding hands in front of it. Amanda was on the far side, smaller, and faint crayon. "She said we should all be a family again," Emma said, handing me the drawing. "But I told her it's better with just us." I said nothing. Just hugged her, tighter than I meant to. The truth? That moment broke me a little. Not from sadness, no, that part had rusted over, but from pride. My daughter, 8 years old, already understood things Amanda never could. Loyalty, love, peace, and the cost of betrayal. But Amanda wasn't finished being Amanda. About 2 weeks later, I got a call from her sister Kayla. "I'm sorry to call," she said, sounding shaken. "But you need to know what Amanda's doing." I didn't want to hear it, but I listened. Apparently, Amanda had been telling their family and friends that I forced her out. That I'd made up the affair to win custody. That I'd manipulated Emma into hating her. She painted herself as a victim, someone caught in a cold marriage with a controlling husband who turned her daughter against her. The lies were wildfire. I saw the effects quickly and mutual friends stopped calling. One of them, Dave, actually messaged me, saying, "Man, if any of that's true, you're a real piece of work." I didn't even respond. Let them believe what they want. I wasn't here to defend myself in some popularity contest. But Emma? She deserved truth. So that night, I sat her down. Told her the basics. Carefully. No venom. No drama. "Your mom made some choices that hurt our family," I said. And some people don't know the whole story, so they're confused. But we know what's true. And that's enough. Emma nodded and said, I don't want her to lie anymore. Me either, I said. Then came the twist. Amanda's parents, yes, the same ones who screamed at Emma to wash the dishes well, useless girl, tried to contact me. They wanted to apologize. Apparently, their house had gone to auction. I'd canceled payments, like I said I would. The bank didn't hesitate. The home they lived in for years, that I paid for, was gone. Now they wanted to meet. I agreed. Not because I wanted to forgive them, but because I wanted them to see what damage looked like up close. We met at a diner. They looked smaller, grayer. Her dad couldn't even meet my eyes. We messed up, her mom said. We should never have yelled at Emma. We were wrong. I sipped my coffee. You were wrong a lot more than that, I said. Her dad finally spoke. Amanda's not. Well, she's unraveling. Drinking again. Saying things that don't make sense. We don't know how to help her. I leaned back. You raised her, I said flatly. You helped shape who she became. You let her think love was conditional, that loyalty was optional. You screamed at an 8-year-old because you were bitter at your own failures. Silence. I'll never let her near Emma without supervision again. And if you want a relationship with your granddaughter, you'll earn it. From the ground up. Slowly. Respectfully. Her mother's lip quivered. Her father nodded. And that was that. I walked out, into the cold, and smiled. Not because it was over, but because I was no longer stuck in the middle of the wreckage. I was outside the storm, watching it fade in the rearview. That weekend, I took Emma to the lake. We sat on the dock with our shoes off, feet in the water, eating peanut butter sandwiches she'd helped make. She looked up at me suddenly and said, You're not sad anymore. It caught me off guard. No, I said. Not anymore. You were really sad for a long time, she added. But now you laugh again. I stared out at the ripples on the lake and let the breeze carry that thought through me. I guess we both got a little stronger, I said. Emma leaned against my shoulder. And in that moment, I knew Amanda may have broken the past, but she had no claim on the future. Ours was already being rebuilt, one peaceful day at a time. Summer came fast. The kind that heats the pavement before 10 a.m. and makes your shirt cling to your back if you so much as breathe outside. Emma was out of school, her hair a mess of curls tied into a half-won battle of a ponytail, sunscreen smudged across her nose. We'd gotten used to the quiet. The stability. She had friends over for sleepovers. I grilled in the backyard. I laughed again, real laughter, not that fake plastic kind I'd gotten good at when Amanda was around. But Amanda? She started circling again like a vulture that smelled something left alive. It started with emails. Long, rambling nonsense. One said she'd found God. Another said she was awakening her inner feminine energy through crystals. One just had a selfie attached with "Miss Me" in the subject line. I ignored every one. She showed up once, unannounced, while Emma and I were biking near the park. Her car pulled up with the kind of screech that told me she still couldn't afford new tires. Nick, she shouted from the window. You can't just erase me. Emma froze. My hands tightened around the handlebars. I walked over, slow and calm. Emma stayed back. You need to leave, I said through my teeth. Amanda stepped out of the car, all sunglasses and perfume. Fake tan. That same smug posture that used to pass for confidence before I saw it for what it was, desperation covered in gloss. She's my daughter too, she snapped. You think you can lock me out forever? No, I said. But the judge can. And will, if you keep pulling stunts like this. She laughed bitterly. This isn't over. Maybe not for you, I said. But for us? It's done. You don't live here anymore. In our heads. In our home. In our hearts. She looked like she wanted to scream. But she didn't. She just got back in her car and drove off, tires peeling, pride shredded. Emma rode up to me slowly. Is she going to keep coming back? Maybe, I said honestly. But we're not scared of her anymore, are we? Emma shook her head, face set like stone. She was 8 going on 40. Stronger than she had any business being. A week later, I got a call from Kayla again. Her voice was low and tense. She's in trouble, she said. Define trouble? I asked. Bar fight. Some guy grabbed her. She threw a glass. Cops came. She's spending the night in jail. I let that sit in the air a moment. I'm telling you, Kayla said, because she's spiraling. And someone's got to know. I do know, I replied. And I stopped saving her a long time ago. Kayla didn't argue. Just sighed and hung up. Amanda's mugshot hit a local Facebook page the next day. Drunk, eyes wild, smeared lipstick. She looked like a warning. The next family court hearing came a month later. Amanda never showed. Her lawyer showed up alone, flustered, mumbling about personal issues. The judge nodded, barely surprised. "I'm suspending visitation privileges indefinitely," the judge said. "Mr. Carter, keep doing what you're doing." After that, it was like a weight dropped off our lives. Even Emma seemed lighter. She danced more, drew more, started telling me about a boy at school who gave her a bracelet and then ran away like he was on fire. I smiled and told her he had good taste. One night, maybe mid-July, we were sitting outside on the porch. Emma had a popsicle. I had a beer. Crickets were just starting to hum. "Do you still hate her?" Emma asked suddenly. I paused, thought about it. "I don't think I hate her," I said. "I think I just see her clearly now." And sometimes, when you see someone clearly, you realize they were never who you thought they were. Emma nodded like she understood. Maybe she didn't, but she would one day. "She missed out," she said. "On us." "Yeah," I said, ruffling her hair. "She really did." That night, I stayed up after putting her to bed, just sitting in the dark, staring at the ceiling. Not sad, not angry, just processing. Amanda burned every bridge like it was a habit, and now she stood on an island of her own making, surrounded by ashes. And me? I had what mattered. My daughter, my peace, my dignity, my strength. There was no dramatic ending, no explosion, just the slow, steady rebuild of a life that had been shattered, but not destroyed. Amanda thought she ruined me, but all she did was set me free. Emma started third grade that fall. New backpack, new shoes, and this newfound confidence in her walk that I hadn't seen before. She was turning into someone whole, not broken, not confused. I dropped her off on that first day, and she ran up the stairs with a quick look back and a wave. Like she knew I'd be watching, making sure she was safe, but she didn't need me to hold her hand anymore. And that meant everything. I started fixing up the house in the free time I never used to have. Painted the porch. Repaired the sagging gate Amanda always complained about but never helped with. I even cleared out the attic, the last place where her boxes still lived. Dresses, perfume bottles, cards she'd never thrown away, pictures from better times before she became a stranger in my home. I threw it all out. Not out of anger. Out of clarity. She was gone, and I wasn't clinging to anything but peace. Then one afternoon, I got an email from an old contact at the bank. Someone I knew from years ago who helped me set up the mortgage. "You should see this," the email said, with a PDF attached. It was Amanda. She was trying to buy a condo using my name on the paperwork. Claimed we were reconciling, that I was surprising her with a down payment. My hands actually shook when I read it. This wasn't just desperate. This was illegal. I called my lawyer. Within 24 hours, Amanda got served. A cease and desist, a fraud alert, and a full report filed. The bank flagged her immediately. Turns out, this wasn't the first time she'd tried to pull something like that since we separated. And the best part? She showed up at the bank screaming. Security escorted her out. They had her on camera in her faux fur jacket, yelling about how "Nick owes me this," like she was auditioning for a soap opera no one wanted to watch. She emailed me later that night. "You're trying to destroy me," she wrote. I didn't reply, because I wasn't trying to destroy her. She was doing that just fine on her own. Weeks passed. Then came the letter. Handwritten. Sloppy. It was a mess of apologies and half-blame. "I never meant to hurt you. You changed too." I was scared. I didn't know how to be a mother the way Emma needed. The usual tragic martyr act. She wanted to talk, no lawyers, no tension, just one last conversation. I didn't answer. Because there's no last talk with someone who lies to your face while swearing they're finally being honest. Emma never asked about her anymore. One day, in the car, she said, "I feel like I had a dream once where Mommy lived with us. But maybe it was just a story." I didn't know what to say. So I just said, "Some dreams don't last." And that's okay. And it was okay. Because we were moving forward, building things. One night, I tucked her in, and she asked if I'd tell her a story from when she was a baby. Something happy. So I told her about the first night we brought her home. How she wouldn't sleep unless she was in my arms. How I watched some dumb TV show with her asleep on my chest, afraid to move because I didn't want to wake her. "How long did you hold me?" she asked, yawning. "All night," I said. Didn't even feel tired. She smiled, eyes closing. "I bet Mommy didn't do that part." I didn't answer. I just kissed her forehead. Later that night, I sat on the porch again, beer in hand, phone on the table. There were no new messages. No drama. Just quiet. The kind of quiet I used to beg for. The kind of quiet that tastes like freedom. And I realized something then, as stupid and simple as it sounds. Peace isn't something you win like a prize. Peace is what you fight for when you finally understand what you won't let back into your life. Amanda taught me that. By being the storm. And now? Now I sit outside the wreckage with the only person who ever really mattered, while the world she built on lies slowly collapses behind us. The holidays rolled in with cold air and soft lights, the kind of December that makes you feel like the world's trying to offer a fresh start wrapped in snow. Emma decorated the tree by herself this year. Crooked garland, ornaments bunched up on the same 3 branches, a paper star she made at school stuck to the top with tape. It was perfect. One evening, while sipping hot chocolate and watching her twirl around in fuzzy socks, I got a call from an unknown number. I knew before I answered. Amanda. Her voice was shaky, not in that fake, trembling, attention-seeking way she used to pull. This time it was real. Tired. Broken. Nick, she whispered, I'm in trouble. I stayed silent. They cut me off, she continued. My parents. Kayla won't return my calls. I've been staying with some guy, but he's not good. I just need help. Just a little. There it was. Not an apology. Not remorse. Just a hand reaching out for the next person to save her from a mess she made with eyes wide open. I can't help you, I said. Calm. Direct. But you loved me, she said, suddenly angry. You said you'd always say. I said that to someone who doesn't exist anymore. Silence. I'm your daughter's mother, Nick. Exactly, I said. So act like it. She hung up. A week later, a letter arrived. No return address, just for Emma written in crooked cursive. I read it first. Of course I did. Inside was a warped, guilt-tripping monologue. How life had been unfair to her. How Emma had been stolen. How she was ready to be the mother she couldn't be before. I didn't show it to Emma. Instead, I shredded it and told her, Mommy wrote a letter, but it wasn't something you need to see right now. Emma looked up from her cereal. Was she being weird again? Yeah, I said softly. She was. She nodded like that made sense and kept eating. Amanda didn't reach out again for a while. Maybe she got the hint. Or maybe she found a new sucker to latch onto. Either way, the silence was golden. That winter, Emma and I drove to the mountains. Just the 2 of us. Rented a cabin with a fireplace, sleds, and a worn-out deck overlooking snow-covered trees. One morning, she ran out into the fresh snow and made snow angels, arms flapping, laughing so loud it echoed across the pines. I watched from the porch, coffee steaming in my hands, and felt something strange. Pride. Not just in her, but in myself. Because I made it out. Not half-broken. Not bitter. I survived Amanda's chaos, her betrayal, her lies, and I didn't let it define me. Or Emma. I started writing again during that trip. Not for money or anyone else. Just for me. Journals full of things I didn't say during the storm. Thoughts I didn't have time to think when everything was burning. Pages filled with questions I don't need answers to anymore. Sometimes the pen would stop, and I'd sit back and smile. It's funny how you look back on things. The worst moments, walking in on Amanda's lies, hearing her venom, watching her burn everything we built, don't feel like open wounds anymore. They feel like old scars. Faded. A part of the story, sure, but not the ending. Emma turned 9 in the spring. She asked for a small party with a few friends, her favorite pizza, and a cake with dragons on it. Why dragons? I asked, chuckling. They burn the bad stuff, she said, grinning. Then fly away. She didn't know how much that hit me. At night, after the party, after the cleanup and bedtime stories and goodnight kisses, I sat in the quiet kitchen alone. Amanda's name didn't echo in my head anymore. Her voice didn't linger in the corners of the room. Her ghost had finally stopped haunting us. And if anyone reading this finds themselves in the same storm, here's what I'll tell you. Don't wait for justice to come knocking. Don't expect the apology that'll never arrive. And for God's sake, stop thinking the wreckage means you're weak. Sometimes survival is the victory. Sometimes walking away is the most violent, powerful, beautiful thing you can do. Let them destroy themselves. You build. And don't look back. Summer returned like it always does, quiet at first, then all at once. Emma was taller. Her laugh deeper. I caught glimpses of the woman she might become, and it scared me in the best way. We spent most evenings on the back porch, her telling stories from school, me listening like her voice was the only thing I ever needed to hear. Amanda hadn't reached out in months. Eventually, I heard through Kayla that she'd moved to another state. New boyfriend, same story. She was couch hopping, blaming everyone else, claiming to be reborn, while repeating every mistake like clockwork. I felt nothing when I heard it. Not joy. Not anger. Just peace. I'd won. Not because I fought harder, but because I stopped fighting her at all. The real victory wasn't punishing Amanda. It was protecting my daughter. It was protecting myself. It was choosing sanity over chaos, peace over noise, truth over illusion. Emma and I were enough. More than enough. On the 4th of July, we watched fireworks from the hood of my truck. She leaned against me, arms crossed, eyes wide. When the sky lit up in gold, she whispered, "This is the best night ever." And it was. Not because it was perfect, but because it was real. No lies. No yelling. No hidden phones or broken promises. Just two people, healing. Together. So, if you're sitting where I once sat, feeling like your world's been shattered by someone who should have protected it, hear me when I say this. You'll make it. It won't be clean. It won't be quick. But you will rebuild. You'll learn that some people were never who they pretended to be. You'll realize betrayal doesn't mean you failed. It means they did. And someday, when the dust settles and the silence comes back sweet instead of scary, you'll be sitting under a sky full of fireworks with someone who never needed lies to love you. Even if that someone is just yourself. That's not a sad ending. That's freedom.